Chappelle is back at it again, exposing Hollywood handlers, and this time he's dragging Oprah for profiting off of other people's suffering and doing business with shady elites.
When a hero stumbles, well, the cowards rejoice. Nothing feels better to a coward than to watch a brave guy fall.
Oprah Winfrey has built a reputation as a philanthropist and humanitarian, but Dave Chappelle always thought that there's another side to Oprah, and he's been trying to expose her for years.
I don't want black people to be disappointed in me for putting that out there.
No, you didn't want to be disappointed in yourself.
You know what, Oprah? You're right.
See, Oprah's been involved in numerous controversies throughout her career. From claims that she blackballs and destroys the careers of everyone who criticizes her, to much more disturbing allegations of alleged involvement in human trafficking.
Oprah Winfrey and her BFF. The man in this photo is, quote, John of God. Oprah promoted him as a miracle healer. This man kept women chained to impregnate so he could sell their babies for organs.
So what did Dave Chappelle say about Oprah and the Hollywood handlers? Does Dave know the real truth about the real Oprah Winfrey? Let's break it down.
I'm very good at minding my own business. And the trick to minding your own business is knowing what is your business.
Oprah Winfrey is trending again after actress Monique recently revealed that she still hasn't received an apology from Oprah for sabotaging her career.
But Oprah, this is me to you. All I would ask you, sister, is why would you do that to me? Was it for ratings?
In case you missed this drama between Oprah and Monique, it all started in 2009 with the release of the movie Precious, directed by Lee Daniels and produced by Oprah and Tyler Perry. The movie was a critical success, and the producers wanted to send Monique on a press tour to take advantage of the media buzz. However, they didn't want to compensate Monique for the tour, so she turned it down, telling Oprah she was already doing a comedy tour and wanted to have some downtime with her husband and kids. Lee Daniels reportedly threatened Monique, telling her it's not going to play out well for you. And according to Monique, the media suddenly started writing stories about how she's difficult and hard to work with. And that's when Monique realized what she was really up against.
What you can't do, Monique, is go against the grain. You can't go against this machine.
But then Oprah did something even shadier to Monique. See, Monique previously revealed that she was essayed by her brother, Gerald, from age 7 to 11, and she's been very vocal about how her family didn't believe her when she reported it. Gerald was even sentenced to 12 years in prison after he essayed another girl, and Monique cut off all contact with him. However, in 2010, Oprah invited Gerald on her show, and she also tried to talk Monique into coming as well. Monique told Oprah she didn't care if her brother wanted to come. However, she didn't want to be a part of the episode. But when the episode aired, it turned out Oprah blindsided Monique by inviting not just Gerald, but also both of her parents, who had previously downplayed the essay she suffered.
I did assault and inappropriately touch my sister in manners that were not comfortable for her. And for that, I apologize.
Monique was devastated, but when she tried to reach Oprah and confront her about it, Oprah went radio silent. Monique eventually ran into Oprah at a Hollywood event, and Oprah claimed she had no idea Gerald would bring his family. However, Monique believed that Oprah was lying.
I shared with her that me and my mother was not talking. I shared with her we were in a really bad place. I shared with her I was hurt and, trying to figure this thing out. She never said my mother was coming on that show, because had Oprah Winfrey said, I'm gonna have your mother, I would have said, shut it down. I don't need the world seeing how greedy my mother is.
And though Oprah reportedly told Monique she was sorry, Monique recently told The Hollywood Reporter that she still expects a public apology from Oprah. But this situation with Oprah and Monique is just the tip of the iceberg. And Oprah has also faced disturbing allegations of trafficking and enabling known abusers like Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein. Several celebs have publicly accused Oprah of covering up for Harvey Weinstein, and actress Rose McGowan claimed Oprah is as fake as they come. Rose blasted Oprah for being friends with Weinstein and Russell Simmons, who's also faced multiple allegations of SA, and wrote, I am glad more are seeing the ugly truth of Oprah. I wish she were real, but she isn't. From being pals with Weinstein to abandoning and destroying Russell Simmons as victims, she is about supporting a sick power structure for personal gain. She is as fake as they come. Singer Seal also publicly called out Oprah over her friendship with Weinstein, and he claimed that Oprah knew all about Weinstein's misconduct for years. Now, when it comes to Oprah's alleged connection to Jeffrey Epstein, this story is shrouded in a lot of mystery. However, there's been a ton of speculation online that Oprah helped Epstein pick his victims. At one point, reports even emerged that Oprah's Florida residence was raided over her alleged involvement in a global trafficking ring. However, Oprah later addressed these reports on Twitter and called it an awful fake thing. "It's not true," Oprah wrote. "Haven't been raided or arrested." However, the speculation didn't end there, because Oprah's name was also brought up in connection to a Brazilian self-proclaimed medium and convicted offender, John of God. John ran a spiritual healing center in Brazil for years before being arrested and sentenced to 63 years in prison for essaying multiple women. But before he was arrested, John was featured on an episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show, and Oprah actually traveled to Brazil to meet him, later claiming that she experienced something profound during their conversation.
This is an interview I wasn't sure would ever happen. One of the most famous spiritual healers in the world rarely talks to anyone on camera. John of God agreed to sit down with me under a mango tree on the grounds of the casa.
The first time I saw it today, I was humbled by the experience.
Ela disse que quando ela viu primeiro as pessoas hoje,
pouco, isso aqui pertence a você.
Prisons are extending their reach beyond jail cells to make more money off incarcerated people.
It seems really kind of suspicious that, the records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
Including you, Jay-Z.
Yes. Yes.
You who say you rose from the gutter, but you have traded and bartered the souls of young men.
Literally the same people who own the labels own private prisons.
If you've been paying attention to the industry over the years, you've probably heard about how Ice Cube has made it his side hustle to expose the shortcomings of the industry. But it seems even that isn't enough for him, as the rapper has now taken things to new heights. Now, he's not just stopping at calling the powers that be out on the internet. Oh no. Now, Ice is doing full-blown interviews about these people moving the chess pieces in the industry. And it seems Jay-Z's name may have come up in the process. This would ordinarily not raise any flags, as people call out the biggest industry players all the time. But with this one, Ice actually laid a trail for anyone interested in his truth. And what he talked about, don't even get me started on these big names who have been in the industry for as long as he has seen a lot of unusual things play out in the lives of these rappers. So much so that he has now drawn parallels and is hell-bent on exposing top players. Personally, I've never seen anyone step up against the Carters with facts, but times are different now. So if you don't want to miss Ice Cube's revelation about the unnamed veteran rapper, then stick around.
You meaning record company guys sit around and tell the artists, this is hot, say that, do this. We're going to have this guy write the lyrics.
One factor that makes people more inclined to believe older people in life generally is the fact that they're equipped with experience. And this was the same case with Ice Cube. The rapper cum actor has been dishing about the puppeteer nature of the industry and how labels, along with their executives, are really the ones pulling the strings on rappers getting sentenced. The audacity, right? Well, the Friday rapper actually said a whole lot more than that. In a sit-down with Bill Maher on the Comedian's podcast, Ice Cube doubled down on revealing just how deep certain executives in the music world have their fingers in controlling society at large. Starting the conversation on his life and career as a whole, the episode called Club Random became a roller coaster after Ice Cube touched on the alleged scandalous connection between the prison industry and the music business. And guess who's at the center of both? Anyway, according to the seemingly enlightened actor, the game being played by these top players in the industry is simply meant to keep the general public distracted and, by extension, divided.
It's just done to really keep us bickering and, chasing these words.
It's weird how the name's always changing every 20 or 30 years. Somebody wants to put a new label on the same thing, Ice Cube said. He went on to suggest that petty debates like this are forced on society to divide people and prevent them from questioning the problems they all should unite to address. It's just done to really keep us bickering and chasing these words, so they're not really getting to the root of the issues, which are most of the time very common, if we really go down to the root of it, Ice Cube said. From this point, it was already pretty clear that the Friday actor was onto something, as he then went on to draw up the alleged connections he believes to exist in the industry, and it started after Maher asked ICE to identify some of these people who are dividing society by design. But instead of spelling it out what he was talking about for the podcast host, Ice Cube did him and the rest of the world one better by asking one question. Who benefits and profits off our bickering and division? Ice Cube asked rhetorically.
Who benefits and profits off our bickering and our division? It's like follow the money.
Follow the money. I don't know their names, Bill, but if you follow the money, you go high. Use the record industry as a broad example of how people at the top can manipulate what's going on with the people who are bickering and fighting.
I don't know their names, Bill, but if you follow the money, you go high enough, you start to see.
Ice Cube alleged that the same people who own the record labels own the prisons, noting that it seems really kind of suspicious, if you want to say that word, that the records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry. But just like many people, Maher had his doubts about Cube's revelation, stating that rappers hadn't been forced to write those lyrics that promoted and subsequently landed rappers in jail. Well, this was the point Ice Cube decided to bring out the big guns. It's not about making somebody write the lyrics, it's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't, Ice Cube said. He later claimed some records are made by committee, where a record company micromanages the lyrics and ideas used in an album to the point a record company is pushing a narrative. Ice Cube suggested this is an illustrative example of social engineering, in this case, ensuring prisons stay full.
It's not about making somebody write the lyrics. It's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't.
Essentially, what ICE meant is that the same people who run the record companies seem to have stock or financial interests in the private prison industry. Thus, their interest in doing everything they can to control how much people get jail terms. Remember when I asked you to guess whose name could fit into a record label conversation and might also happen to be invested in the prison system? Well, it's none other than the head of the Carter household, Jay-Z himself.
So, it seems really kind of...
For starters, Jay-Z, being the 1% of the 1% that is at the top of the music industry, happens to run his own record labels that apparently have a trail of artists ending up in jail. Seems like a pretty huge coincidence, doesn't it? See, while most of the rappers that have been signed to Jay-Z's record label over the years have had their own share of controversies involving the law, there has been a pattern of Hav refusing to lend a helping hand, even though he literally has the required connections. One of the most prominent examples of this case is rapper Casanova's run-in with the law. Casanova, who was signed to Roc Nation in 2016, was charged with attempted murder in November 2021 and has been behind bars since. However, he says Jay-Z has not lent a helping hand even after he'd spent months back and forth on the case. In fact, after a month behind bars, the rapper actually had a statement revealing that he was in a tight spot. According to a statement released via Instagram on his behalf, which read, "I've been incarcerated for almost 1 year now, exhausted all remedies, and spent a significant amount of money on legal fees to prove my innocence. The charges against me are false. They don't represent or reflect," the NY rapper added in his statement. "I'm calling on all the great people with meaningful and powerful voices to help me with this matter. If there's anything you can do to help, whether if it's contacting my legal attorney to see that I played no role in this case, or having a private investigator look into actual role and not the alleged accusations against me." Considering that Jay-Z has eaten at the table of the American president at different points in the past, don't you think it's a little odd that his artist has to release a public statement asking for legal help? And if that's not convincing enough, there's also the fact that Tory Lanez, who was recently caught up in a legal free-for-all with Megan Thee Stallion, had his own share of Jay-Z's power. According to Lanez himself, he got a call from Jay's record label, or should I say threat. Hear for yourself.
I get a call from Roc Nation that says, "Yo, we heard you're going to make a statement about what happened, and it'd be in your best interest if you don't make that statement."
For context, Megan is actually an artiste under Jay-Z's Roc Nation, who also happens to be making big bank for them. So the label allegedly calling up Tory to keep his mouth shut is pretty much another form of proof that Jay has his hands deeply invested in controlling the narrative about artists. But it wasn't just Tory that spoke about Jay-Z's alleged manipulation. Even the Canadian rapper's father name-dropped Hove. And considering that Lanez actually lost that case, even though there seemed to be a lot of discrepancies, including conflicting stories, it just further solidifies these claims against Jay. But it didn't end with just Tory and Casanova. Oh no, there's one other name, which is the legendary R. Kelly, the singer who is currently in jail for a litany of other sex-related charges. Seems to be more worried about other things than the crimes he's committed. Ronnie Bowe, Kelly's former cellmate, said in a recent interview that the R&B singer thinks that Jay-Z wanted him dead. Jay-Z and Kelly worked on 2 albums together in the early 2000s and went on tour together as well. Apparently, things did not end well on the tour between the two artists. He felt like Jay-Z was kind of insecure because at that time, R. Kelly was technically bigger than him, Bowe said. He felt like during one of the shows when they was in Madison Square Garden in 2004, prior to that event, he said days before the event that he was getting death threats that he felt was coming from Jay-Z. I don't know if this is going to sound outrageous, Bowe said. He felt like Jay-Z was trying to get him killed for whatever reason. He couldn't have said it better, right? But it still doesn't end there. Even besides all of these, there is also the fact that Jay literally created an app to monitor former convicts when they get released. While the rapper claims this is just him lending a hand to make society a better place, history and Ice Cube seem to have painted a completely different picture. Well, it seems a lot of people might be starting to figure out who Jay-Z really is, and they haven't been quiet about it. One user wrote, Jay-Z is a black capitalist who is invested in the prison industrial complex. His CEO of Rock Nation was a DEA informant. He goes against everything the Black Panther Party stood for. Is this where people finally put their foot down against this puppeteer? We just may find out soon enough. That's it for this video.